Sir, what is the significance of the ongoing 69th session of United Nations General Assembly?
The 69th session of the General Assembly is very crucial for deciding on what will form the post-2015 development agenda of the United Nations. You are aware that the Millennium Development Goals, which were announced in the year 2000, are now coming to an end in terms of the period of implementation. And the Sustainable Development Goals, which will replace the Millennium Development Goals and which will form the heart of the post-2015 development agenda, are now to be negotiated and adopted in the 70th anniversary summit, which happens at the end of the 69th session of the General Assembly. It is a very significant session because development is the top priority of our country, and we have been calling for inclusive development. We have been calling for transfer of resources for development, which includes finances, and we have been also calling for transfer of technology for development. So from all these perspectives, this session is going to be very important for us to negotiate that all these concerns of ours are integrated into the agenda which is adopted next year.
Sir, with the new leadership in place in New Delhi, India has made many strides in the development, particularly on the economic front and on the developmental side. So how do the other members of the United Nations see this or view this?
Well, there's a lot of awareness and interest in the changes that have taken place in India, especially after the last general elections. That is the main reason why the visit of our Prime Minister very soon after the general elections to address the United Nations General Assembly on the 27th of September is an event of great importance for both of these countries that you mentioned. Apart from the issues of development that we have talked about, we will also have a focus on India's role politically in the United Nations system. One of the areas in the political area is the reform of the United Nations Security Council. And we expect to receive the support of the countries that you have mentioned in our bid to reform the United Nations Security Council so that India can become a member, a permanent member of the enlarged reformed Security Council.
What are the fields where hitherto the cooperation is yet to be explored with the prominent members of United Nations Organization, particularly US and UK and China and Japan? So where India can make some progress? So what are such?
You know, India has been also negotiating in the United Nations system for what we call the use of information and communication technology for development. This was something that we agreed to at the United Nations in 2005 in what is called the Tunis Agenda. In next year, in 2015, from June to December, we have a period of 6 months for negotiating the review of the Tunis Agenda, and we hope to include in the negotiation of the review the issues of how to use ICT for development, how to use ICT for empowerment of women, and how to use ICT for reaching out to the sections of society which currently do not have access to information and services and the entire process of development. If you look at the way in which the UNDP has functioned in India, in the states of India, if you look at the way in which the World Health Organization has worked in India, in helping us to move forward our health programs and issues. If you look at the way in which UNICEF has dealt with children's issues in India, and these specialized agencies therefore have a big role to play. India's involvement in the United Nations diplomacy brings the countries that you mentioned, especially the advanced countries with high technology, as partners in the programs of these specialized agencies in India. And I think that in the period ahead, we will see a greater engagement of these countries through their donations and their participation in the work of the UN specialized agencies. And that is something that we collaborate very closely on and that we hope to build on even further in the years ahead. I must also mention the work done specifically by UN Women. This is a new body created out of the old structures of the United Nations. It is a body to which India contributes $1 million annually to the core budget, and we have great expectations from the activities of UN Women in empowering women, both in terms of their individual activities as well as their role as development catalysts.
Sir, thank you very much. Thanks for sharing time with Doordarshan and through Doordarshan, enriching the information of our esteemed viewers. Thank you.
Well, I thank Doordarshan and I wish all the viewers of Doordarshan success in all the work that they do, so that together we can make India a true superpower of the 21st century.